Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dig into something pretty incredible, how artificial intelligence is totally changing the game in one of humanity's oldest industries, agriculture.
I mean, think about it. How can a line of code actually help feed the world? It sounds like a stretch, right? From a computer screen to the dirt in our fields. But you know, the connection is way more direct than you might think. We're going to explore exactly how this tech is reshaping the entire journey of our food, from the very first seed to what ends up on your plate.
All right, so before we get our boots muddy, let's just start with the basics. What are we even talking about when we say AI in Agritech?
Okay, so here's the best way to think about it. This isn't about replacing farmers, not at all. It's about giving them these incredibly powerful digital tools. Think of them as supercharged assistants, packed with data intelligence and predictive modeling that help them work smarter, not just harder. It's really all about turning a flood of raw data from the field into actual, usable wisdom.
So that all sounds great, but how does this actionable wisdom actually help a farmer out on the ground? Well, let's head right into the fields and see where this technology stops being theoretical and starts getting really practical and, well, impactful.
So at the heart of all this is a concept called precision agriculture. Now, for centuries, right, farming was kind of a one-size-fits-all deal. You treat a whole field as one big unit. But AI, it lets us make this massive shift. We can go from these broad strokes to almost microscopic care. We're talking about treating each individual plant or a tiny section of a field with exactly what it needs, precisely when it needs it. It's a total game changer.
And here's how that cycle works. It's a really powerful but simple three-step process. First, you've got data collection. Think drones flying overhead, sensors in the soil, you name it. Then, step 2, the AI acts like the brain of the operation. It crunches all that data to predict things like crop health or what the final yield might be. And then, the final and most crucial step, turning that analysis into a clear, actionable insight. It's basically telling the farmer, hey, you need to add a little water right here down to a specific square foot.
And look, this isn't just cool theory. These data-driven insights lead to some serious, real-world benefits. We're talking higher crop yields, using less water, cutting way back on pesticides, and yeah, at the end of the day, making farms more profitable. And that is so important, because when farming becomes more predictable and more profitable, it's just more sustainable for the farmers themselves. That's really the core of what we mean by enhancing farmer retention through data intelligence. You're giving them the tools to thrive.
Okay, but the story doesn't end at the farm gate. Not even close. The intelligence that AI provides actually follows the food, optimizing the entire journey, all the way from the field to our plates.
And this right here really shows you the massive difference. The old traditional supply chain, it's totally reactive. It's kind of slow, pretty inefficient, and it's always just responding to problems after they happen. But the AI-optimized supply chain, well, that's all about predictive intelligence. It's using data to see the future, to anticipate demand, spot bottlenecks, and get rid of waste before it even becomes a problem. So you've got this predictive brain that's basically overseeing the whole system. It can forecast how many avocados a city will want months from now. It can figure out the absolute best shipping routes to save fuel and time. And a huge one, it can slash food waste. On top of all that, it creates this transparent digital trail which gives us amazing traceability, all the way from the farm right to you, the consumer.
But here's the thing. For this technology to really transform agriculture on a global scale, it has to work for everyone, everywhere. And that brings us to some really important practical questions about how we roll this out. How do we make sure this revolution is actually inclusive?
And this is probably one of the biggest questions hanging over Agritech right now. Who owns the farmer's data? I mean, a farmer's data on their soil, their yields, their methods, that stuff is incredibly valuable. So making sure that farmers keep control and ownership of their own information is absolutely central to building the trust you need to get everyone on board.
So you can really break down this whole ethical challenge into 3 critical areas. First, like we said, data ownership. Who's in charge of that info? Second, you've got the algorithms themselves. We've got to make sure these tools aren't biased, that they work just as well for a small family farm in one part of the world as they do for a giant corporate farm somewhere else. And finally, we have to think about the societal impact. What does all this automation mean for rural jobs and the fabric of farming communities?
Because, you know, at the end of the day, if AI is really going to help us feed the world, it can't just be a fancy toy for the wealthy. The whole point has to be empowering everyone. And that especially means the smallholder farmers who, believe it or not, produce a massive chunk of the world's food, but are often the last to get access to new tech. So bridging that digital divide isn't going to happen by accident. It takes a real conscious effort. It means we have to build low-cost AI solutions that are actually easy to use. And we need to focus on projects that give farmers clear, tangible benefits that they can see and, most importantly, trust. It all comes down to making this technology genuinely accessible and practical for everyone.
And that is the ultimate promise here, right? If we can integrate AI into agriculture responsibly, we're talking about a global food system that's way more efficient, more sustainable, more resilient to climate change, and just plain fairer for everyone involved, from the person growing the food to the person eating it.
So we've kind of come full circle. There's no doubt that AI can help us grow our food. The real question, the one that matters most, is this: can we grow AI responsibly? How we answer that question, well, that's going to shape the future of how we feed our world for generations to come. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.